Hello, and a good morning, good afternoon, and a very good evening to you, the good and wonderful people of the tube. Hope you're well today. Hope you're feeling grand and all's well in your world. Welcome to the A&Q Wednesday, everybody. Let's get to question one today. Yes, let's do it. Yes, I should have enough time on the camera. Okay, so, question one today is, would you trade your depression and mental health problems if it meant you couldn't play the guitar anymore? No. Very quick, simple answer, no. Basically, yeah. Would you if I had to sacrifice my guitar playing to be free of my mental health conditions, would I do it? No, I wouldn't. I'd rather have my depression, mental health problems, PTSD, and all that lovely stuff that I have, and still be able to play guitar. Because my guitar helps me channel that out. You know, it's the ultimate medication for me, my guitar, when I have those spells of depression or panic or anxiety or feeling like I shouldn't be alive anymore. The guitar makes me feel like I have a purpose, you know what I mean? It makes me feel like I belong. And would I trade that feeling in? Would I trade the guitar in to get rid of that? No, I would rather have that, because this is this is the best therapy and medication that I have that works for me. And would I trade this in for not having it? No, not in a million years. I'd rather be a broken, messed up human being that I am, and be able to play this than not be able to play this and be free of that, if that makes any sense. I don't feel defined by my mental illnesses. I don't feel defined by my social anxiety, like I say, PTSD, my dyslexia, my whatever else I've got, social anxiety, depression, all that lot. I don't feel defined by any of that. It's just who I am, and there's nothing I can do about it. It wasn't a choice. I didn't choose to be this. I've become this through my experiences in life. They have made me this way. All the bad experiences have outweighed the good experiences, and because of that, I am what I am. And because of this, I'm still breathing. So would I trade my ability to play guitar for be free of mental health? No, I wouldn't. I'd rather have a mental health condition. I know some people might think that sounds stupid, but to me, no, it's not. It's because when I play this, I don't think about what's wrong with me. I don't think about what people think of me. I don't think about my anxiety, my depression. Do I belong here? Do I not belong here? I don't think of any of that. Because all there is at that point in time is music coming out of this. That's all there is. And I'm not interested in anything else at that point. Nothing else matters at that point. Not to quote Metallica. Would that be copyright? Could you get copyrighted for just saying nothing else matters? I don't know. But honestly, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't trade my guitar playing for anything. I just wouldn't. Anything that tries to get in the way of my want and love to play guitar will not get in the way. It will get out of the way very fast. Yeah, because like I say, it's just perfect. It's perfect medication, and it just takes me away from all that horribleness that lives in my stupid head. And at that point, it doesn't matter what's wrong with me at that point. It doesn't matter if I'm having a bad day. It doesn't matter if I've had a really bad comment on YouTube that's kind of stuck with me and is really affecting me. It doesn't matter if something's going wrong in life or whatever, or even right or anything like that. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or ugly. When I played the guitar and play music, all that goes away. And it's so simple. The world is so simple at that point because it's just about music. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. It's just... And that's the way I feel it should be, is when you play an instrument, is as soon as you put the guitar on, bass on, sit behind a drum set, stand behind a piano, or sit at a piano, or whatever you play, as soon as you pick that up, the only thing that's important is the music you're going to make with that. It doesn't matter about anything else, in my opinion. You know, it's all about this at that point in time. You know, it's all about the music, and, you know, it doesn't matter about how you look. It doesn't matter about your, you know, if you're ugly, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter about that. What matters is, like, you know, what are you making music-wise? You know, what's the sound? Where's that coming from? And where's it going? You know, and just literally just obeying and listening to music is key there. And again, to me, it's the best medication I could ever be on. You know, because I refused, for all the years I've suffered with mental health, I've always refused medication. I just refuse it. I don't want to go on medication. I just flat out have refused it. And I know some people might be saying, "Oh, it's really stupid," and I've been told that plenty of times. But I don't care. It feels wrong to me to do that. You know, especially when I've got this. You know, 5 minutes with this is better than any chemical I can put into my body. You know what I mean? This calms me down and puts me into a better headspace than any of that stuff ever could. So, yeah, not in a million years would I trade this for anything. I just wouldn't. The guitar came along in my life at a time when I needed saving. And there was no one around who could save me because I didn't tell anybody. I just wasn't going to tell anybody about anything. And it took this to open that door for me. So I owe my life to the guitar. I really do. I mean, I know, again, that might sound silly to some people, but I don't really care, because that's my story. That's exactly it. You know, as soon as I started playing the guitar, I felt like I had a purpose and I had a reason and a purpose for being here in the first place. So to lose that would be to lose me, and that's not going to happen. So yeah, like I say, without this, I wouldn't be here talking to you awesome people right now. I really wouldn't. It's as simple as that. And it is as cut and dry as that as well. There's no kind of variables in there. You know, before this came along, before the guitar came along, lack of better words, people of the tube, I had an obsession with wanting to die. Obsessed with it. Because I thought I was done, you know. I was 15 years old, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, well, what's the point? What's the point? I'm not supposed to be here. I don't feel like I belong here. There's nothing I can do that's any good. I tried so many things. Funnily enough, I'd never tried music, which is a bit weird. But I tried so many things. I tried sports, and I tried art, and I tried writing, and I tried all these things, and I tried, you know, doing all these kind of like weird little 9-to-5 jobs, like little 9-to-5 jobs which normally lasted a day because I failed miserably because, again, being dyslexic and a panic-stricken mess, it didn't really work out very well. But the guitar is the only thing that I've ever played that I'm any good at. And in all fairness, I'm happy about that. You know what I mean? I'm not bothered about being good at everything. You know, I don't think I'm particularly great at the guitar, but that's me. You know, I'm that way. But no. Not in a million years would I trade this. No, this stays with me forever. And regardless of the ugliness and the horribleness of the anguish that people with mental health go through, and I go through, I wouldn't trade my ability to play this to get rid of that. I would rather keep all the anguish and the mental health problems and the depression and just play my guitar, because that makes me feel like I'm something, you know, instead of a nothing, which is pretty much what I would feel like if this went away tomorrow. I just don't see the point. But that's me. You know, a lot of people have had a go at me for saying stuff like that before, but again, you know, that's my opinion. You know, that's where I stand on this. You know what I mean? It doesn't. You don't have to like it, because it's not your opinion. You know what I mean? That's my opinion. That's where I live. You know, so, you know, be that for what it may. Anyway, I'm going to move on, people too, because there's some more really cool questions this week, so I'm careful. I've got to be careful. I'm not ramble too much and fill up my memory card before I get all the questions finished. Okay, so we're going to move on to question 2 now. So question 2 today is, what happens if you feel uninspired on the guitar and nothing you play speaks to you? What can you do when you feel uninspired? Simply don't play. If you're uninspired, if you pick up a guitar and everything you play it doesn't connect, and you're just like, oh god, that's just terrible. You know, if that's what's going on, then you just put the guitar down and you have to go and do something else. You know, or just do something else with a guitar. You know, if I feel uninspired, what I tend to do is go around and clean my guitars off. I live in a very, 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 very dusty house. So my guitars get dusty very, very quickly, and dust isn't great for electronics because it makes them all scratchy. So I don't know what's going on with my voice with that, but so if I feel uninspired, I just do other things with other guitar other than play it. You know, I'll clean them, or I'll do a bit of maintenance on them. Make sure like the necks are okay. Make sure the string heights are all like as they should be. Make sure all the electrics are fine. You know, nothing's too scratchy. Nothing doesn't work. So I would just do that. That's what I do. You know, I don't have to. If I feel uninspired, I just don't play it. I just do something else, and I don't feel like I need to have to play it sometimes. You know, I think that's the beautiful thing about the guitar and instruments in general is if you don't feel inspired or you don't feel the need to play it, you don't have to play it. You know what I mean? I don't agree with forcing yourself into doing something if it's just going to make you angry. Because I think I've always said, pretty much, if the moment you start getting, if you're learning something and the moment you start getting angry, you're done. You know, that's when you need to stop. You know, you can't keep learning if you're angry. So you have to stop at that point. So, and the same thing goes with uninspired. If you're uninspired, don't play it. You know, put it down and just wait. You know, it will come back. It will find you when it needs to find you. You just have to be patient. You know, in the same way when you're learning certain things, you have to be patient. You know, you're not going to be able to just like pick up a guitar and be able to do what you want with it immediately. It takes a lot of practice. You know, it takes a lot of time, a lot of minutes, and a lot of years to get really, really good. You know, and it takes a long time to even notice you're getting good. You know, so you just got to be patient. And the same thing, like I say, and that's what I do. Is at that point, I'll check my pedal boards as well, make sure my amps are all okay. Just stuff like that. That's what I do instead. If nothing's coming out of the guitar that makes me go, I like that. Today, for instance, the intro jam to today's vid, I don't know where it came from. I was making my cornflakes this morning for my breakfast, and in my head, that intro jam came out. It goes. It wants to be an electro beat off the Boss, what's it called again? I always forget. RC10. It wanted to be this certain electro beat on the RC10, which I know I really like it. That really cool electro beat. It said it wanted to be that, and it wanted to be like a chorused guitar, but like a really mellow kind of thing. And it just wanted to be kind of like just. The thing that popped into my head was. It needs to be Electro Dave Gilmour. That was what popped into my... That was the actual words upon my head. When I heard music tell me that it wanted an electro beat, it wanted to be in D minor, and it wanted to be a certain progression with that weird kind of like, you know, that harmonic minory bit. The style wanted to be Electro Dave Gilmour. That's the two words that came up. So yeah, be that what I mean. But again, that was that thing of like, I wasn't thinking about what I was going to do. Because I don't overanalyze anything anymore. I find that's really detrimental to me, to overanalyze. I know some people who do it and it works for them, and that's cool. But for me, if I overanalyze, I never do anything. I would never do anything. And I discovered that when I was in London. I never used to do that before London. And when I went to London, I was kind of getting taught to overanalyze and really listen and kind of force it, because that's the way kind of a lot of those guys kind of work, and it didn't work for me, and it really started to kill the guitar for me. It really started to kill the life of it. Not having that, So I stopped and went back to not analysing and not overthinking and just playing the bloody thing. Instead of just kind of like, right, well, this is in D minor, so I can use the D minor my pentatonic scale, but I can also use this mode. I just stopped thinking that way, which is where I was getting dragged to when I was in London, and I was like, don't want it, don't want that. I just want to be able to pick up guitar and go, it's in D, and not care about the rest, and just find my way. You know what I mean? I don't give a monkeys about what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. All I care about is if it's in that moment and it feels right, it is right. You know, it's all about feel, people have achieved for me. It really is. I don't give a monkeys about the technical aspect. If it feels right, it's right. You know, it's literally like that. But like I say, if you're uninspired, just don't play. You know, because you're not going to get anything out of it. You're just not going to get anything out of it because everything you play is just going to be garbage. And I call them bad guitar days. Everyone has them. You know, I was talking to my friend Nicole the other day. She was having a really bad guitar day where she didn't feel like she was progressing. She didn't feel like she was any good. You know, this, that, and the other. And we all get that. You know, musicians get that all over the place. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, normal people get that. You know, normal people. Not saying musicians aren't normal people, but most of us aren't. You know, everyone gets those days where you think you're useless at what you're doing. You know, it could be anything, you know, and everyone gets that. I do find guitarists and musicians in general suffer more from it, mainly because I find guitarists, well, musicians in general, more sensitive people who take it to heart more. It's harder to accept, you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, but again, never overanalyze. It's not a good idea to overanalyze. Just do what you do. And if it sounds good and it feels good, go for it. If it feels bad and it doesn't sound good and it's not speaking to you, then don't do it. Just stop. Go and do something else, you know. Sometimes what I do if I'm uninspired as well is I go out in my van and I just go for a drive. I just put music on really loud. I wind down my window. I always like driving my window down. Even if it's like really cold and snowing, I like the window down on the van. I don't know why. I just always have. And even if I'm a passenger, I like the window down, much to the annoyance mainly of the driver, or passengers most of the time, actually, because I drive quite a lot. But I like to go for a drive with music like John Frusciante on really loud, or Pearl Jam, or whatever I'm kind of binging on at that point in time. Recently, my binging has been Rise Against, The Offspring, John Frusciante's Empyrean album, I can't get enough of that, Pearl Jam 10, Alice in Chains' Facelift, and Inside of Emptiness by John Frusciante. Those albums are like, they're the only things I'm listening to right now. Oh, and Temple of the Dog, sorry. Temple of the Dog. I'm listening to Temple of the Dog as well. Not as much as the others, though. Temple of the Dog isn't getting listened to as much as the others. But that's where I'm at this point in time. I'm obsessed with those bands at this point in time, and certain songs and certain albums of theirs. So, but what I'll do is, like I say, I'll just go out, turn that up, drive into the countryside, or drive wherever. It doesn't matter. You don't have to drive into the countryside. You can drive anywhere you want. Or just go for a walk and put music on. If you're going to go for a walk and put headphones in there, be careful. Don't have it too loud. It'll damage your ears. Because the frequencies are bad for you. I can't stand wearing earbuds or any headphones. I can't stand it. It's why when I record, I always record DI. Because I know I don't have to wear headphones. It's great. I can't stand things in my ears. It took me a long time to be able to get used to earplugs. But that was a necessity. Because otherwise I'll fall over. But especially if it's loud. But no, I can't stand things in my ears, and especially loud noise when it's like that close to my ear. It drives me potty. So yeah, but coming back, if you're feeling uninspired, don't play. Just walk away from the guitar. Don't play it. Do something else with it instead, or go out, or do something else. You know, the inspiration will return when it needs to. Music finds you when it needs to find you. You know, you can't go out and find it. It'd be a quest of. It'd be a failed quest. It'd never happen. You know, you just need to sit back and wait for it to find you. Today's intro jam found me. I had no thought process in that whatsoever. That just came totally unconscious of Electro Gilmore. Sounds like a really bad Adam Sandler movie. But yeah, so yeah, that's all I can recommend really. It's like if you're not inspired, don't play, because you're not going to get anything from it whatsoever. So I hope that's answering your question. Another thing, just quickly, add to that before I go on to question 3. Noel Gallagher said in an interview after Be Here Now, he was kind of writer's block. He had nothing after Be Here Now because definitely maybe Morning Glory and Be Here Now. He basically wrote those albums before he was even in Oasis. You know, he wrote them in his bedsit in Manchester, you know, when he was roadieing for the Inspiral Carpets. You know, he was convinced that no one was ever going to hear these songs, so it was kind of like, you know, he just wrote them. So when he got in Oasis and started bringing, like, you know, Supersonic, well, he wrote Supersonic while he was in Oasis, but stuff like, you know, all these songs he brought and then stuff like that, they're already written. So after all that was done, once all that was used up, he kind of had a writer's block and he freaked out. Absolutely freaked out. So he went to Paul Weller and he asked Paul Weller for advice. He was like, I can't write anything. He's like, I literally can't write. Nothing comes out, feels any good, and I can't write anything. And Paul Weller said, and this is where I get this thing from, and this has always worked for me when I feel uninspired or have that writer's block. And I'll talk about my friend Ian in a sec as well, because he said the same thing. And Paul Weller said to Noel, he says, yeah, well, you just don't write. He says, that happens all the time. You'll hit creative blocks where you just can't write. Nothing comes. You have to wait for that to go away and for it to come back. And my friend Ian, described it as this. He says, at some point, everything's like this. You're in the middle here, and everything's kind of on the outside of you. And you're kind of like going, oh, I've got nothing. And then all of a sudden, zoom, these things all come in and they lock together on you. And you're like, I'm inspired. I've got all these ideas. You know, and then all of a sudden, as soon as they're used, go, boom, and it goes back out here again. And you're like, oh, I've got nothing. And then zoom, and then it comes all back in again. You know, that's what happens. You get inspiration and then it goes away. You can never have constant inspiration. It's impossible. You can't do it. And if you did, I'd be very, very surprised. I just don't think it's possible. But again, my opinion. You know, and from what I've experienced with myself and talking to other people, other songwriters and stuff like that, you can't do that. You know, you can be inspired by things a lot, but you can't be inspired all the time. You know, it doesn't work that way. We're human beings. We got flaws. So, Anyway, that's where that is. But I hope this answers your question okay. Guess who's over my shoulder right now? All right, not the Marshalls. They're too pretty to be what this fear thing is. Fear thing's quite ugly. It's like that. That's quite ugly actually. That's quite scary actually. Maybe I should be like in a horror movie feel like that. It's like, I don't know. Do you reckon I can make the cut people of the tube in a horror movie like that? Maybe so. Anyway, gonna move on to question 3 now before I get distracted by being in horror movies. Okay, so question 3 is, what's your opinion on Joy Division's music? I love it. Grew up listening to it. You know, when I was growing up, the music I listened to was what my dad was listening to, mainly because I didn't like what my mum listened to, which was the top 10 horrible pop music of the 80s and the early 90s. I just didn't like that stuff, so I listened to what my dad listened to because I liked that more, which was punk, you know, Sex Pistols, The Clash, Undertones, Joy Division, Buzzcocks, and also listening to stuff like Irish traditional music, you know, English folk music, Martin Carthy, all that kind of stuff. That's what I listen to. So Joy Division are a big part of me growing up. I clearly remember Ian Curtis scaring me when I was really, really young. On TV, they did a rerun of Sounds of the 70s, like the Old Grey Whistle Test, and Joy Division were on there doing Transmission. And that song's always stuck with me, and I really like Transmission. It's not my favourite Joy Division song. I think my favourite Joy Division song is New Dawn Fades. I love the lyrics. It's just dark, and it's just the lyrics in that are just heartbreaking when you know about Ian Curtis. But Transmission was one on. No, it's not All Grey Whistle Test. It's something else, isn't it? It's the TV program, something else. And they're performing Transmission, and Ian Curtis goes into his weird, you know, dancing, and he's just glaring, and he's white as a ghost on the thingy. And I remember being scared of him. I remember I really liked the song, but every time he looked at the camera, I had to look away because it used to freak me out when I was a kid, and it's really stuck with me. Like his image, like I can see his face now. Like I have a screenshot of his face in my head of him looking like wide-eyed, pale, sweating, and just kind of like doing that weird kind of like body movement he would do, where he'd kind of lose control of himself, and it terrified me. But I love the music so much, and I think one of my dad's favourite songs of all time is Love Will Tear Us Apart, and I can see why. It's so gorgeous, But poor old Ian Curtis. I mean, there was a troubled man, if there ever was one, Good gravy. But I really love Joy Division. Like I say, they're a big part of my growing up, So especially the song Transmission. It was the first song of theirs I heard, and it stuck with me. And, I love that. And I remember seeing the Chili Peppers at Hyde Park. And I swear they did Right on Time, and I know they did, and they did a Transmission before it kicked in. I swear they did it when I saw them, or maybe I'm getting confused with the CD, but I don't know. But I swear they did it, but I could be wrong with that one. But either way, when they did it, it was kind of like lump in the throat moment. It just reminds me of dancing around the living room with a tennis racket, trying to thinking you're a guitarist. That's, again, it sounds cliche. I mean, everyone says, oh yeah, I used to dance around with a tennis racket and pretend I was a guitarist. But I think everyone nearly did. I mean, I know I did. My brother did. We always. I remember jumping off the settee and being on my knees and strumming this tennis racket. I remember thinking it was really cool because I knackered up my fingernails on the strings of a tennis racket, thinking, how cool is that? That's what real guitarists do. And little did I know, yes, that is true, and I do it. So little did I know back then, when I was 5 or 6, that was what was going to happen. Oh, the Pogues as well. I can't miss out the Pogues. Pogues are a massive part of me growing up. I remember clearly playing on the carpet in my front room while my dad was watching Pogues live at Brixton Academy. And I remember hearing Fall from Grace of God and stuff like that. And I remember Joe Strummer steps in on that gig as well, and they do London Calling, and it's so cool. Anyway, but yeah. So Joy Division, yeah, they've got a very, very, very... I love Joy Division. I mean, I don't listen to them a lot. But they've got a very, very big place in my musical heart, if you will, because there's a lot of music I grew up with and reminds me of happy times, and Joy Division is one of those. Even though, like I say, even though Ian Curtis scared the bejesus out of me with his scary eyes, because his eyes were, they're blue. I think they were blue, but his stare was a bit terrifying for me, being young. Now if I watch it again, I don't get that as much, because again, I understand him more. I don't think you can understand him, but I understand where he was, and you understand he was epileptic and he would have fits on stage and stuff like that, and just a very tortured individual. So I don't see him as a scary character now. I see him as just troubled and a man who couldn't ask for help, basically, which is just heartbreaking. And so I don't have that fear of it anymore, but I still remember feeling that, which is great. It's all good. It's good to be scared. I think it's a good emotion to feel. I really do. Miyamoto Musashi always talks. Doesn't always talk, but he talks in his book about you should always. He says in the book. I mean, you can take this where you want. This is where I took it. He says you should go places where men fear to tread. And basically, what he means by that is go down a dark alley at night time, go to a dark forest at night. If you're scared of it, do it. Basically, is what he's trying to say there. I feel that's what he's trying to say there, is because if you can conquer these fears of kind of I daren't do that, but if you do it, then you get so much more from it. It's incredible. The France trip was that for me. I was terrified of going down to the south of France on my own. Absolutely terrified. But my God, I'll remember that for the rest of my life, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I miss it. I really miss it. Anyway, I'm going to move on before I get upset. So I'm going to move on to the last question of the day. People do. That was my hair. I got my finger caught in a knot of my hair. My hair knots up like spider webs. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the final question of the day without pulling my hair out, because I don't have enough of it to lose. Damn it. I I don't know. Okay, so moving on to final question today. Question 4 is... okay, so there's 2 parts to question 4. So question 4, part 1 is, why do you never mention Michael Schenker or reference his playing? He's not an influence on me. There's nothing there. You know, certain guitarists, they don't have an influence on me, and that's the way that should be. I don't think you can be influenced by every guitarist in the world. You know, there's quite a lot of guitarists you'll find who just like, nah, that doesn't do anything for me. And I think at that point you've got to be honest about it and go, no, it doesn't work for me. You know, I think that's really important, of being honest with not only other people but yourself. If something doesn't work, or something you just don't like something, say you don't like it. You know, there's no point lying, going, oh yeah, that's amazing, when inside you're like, God, I really don't like that. You know, it's just pointless. So Michael Schenker, I've heard his playing, and he doesn't do anything for me. He just doesn't. There's just nothing there. You know, much in the same way. Can I think of another guitarist? When your brain just goes blank on the moment. I can't think. Give me a minute on that one, people of the tube. But yeah, his playing doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, he's great. He's a great player. I will not deny he's a great guitarist. He really is. You know, he's amazing. But he doesn't do anything. It's just doing. It bounces off. You know, and like I've always said, you know, music has to go inside me to actually enjoy it and feel it and love it. You know, if it just goes doing, it means it's not right for me. It doesn't work for me. You know, it's not. I'm not saying he's rubbish. I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying I just don't like it. It doesn't work for me. You know, I know a lot of people kind of get bent out of shape when you say you don't like something, because I think it's in human nature for, like, you know, it's like, well, how can you not like that kind of thing? But, you know, human beings are human beings. If you don't like something, you don't like it. It's as simple as that. You know, but you should, instead of going on the internet like most people do these days and just, I must voice my opinion because, you know, I've got an opinion. You should just keep it to yourself and go, no, I don't like it. Simple as that. Be civil. Be adult about it. Be grown up about it. And going, I just don't like it. You know, and if, you know, reason being whatever the reason is. Like, say, for me, Michael Schenker, his music doesn't you know, that music doesn't do anything for me. You know, it just bounces off. You know, and it doesn't go inside. You know, if I listen to his playing and I listen to John Frusciante, I'm gonna get John more. And again, I just don't get it. I've listened to all these things. Santana. I love Santana's playing, but he doesn't actually do anything for me. You know what I mean? His guitar tone is amazing. His playing is amazing. I love some of his songs, but does he do anything for me emotionally? No. It's just awesome to listen to, but he doesn't actually do anything for me emotionally. It doesn't take me on an emotional ride, which is what I always want from music. Like when I listen to kind of like Central off the Empyrean, or Machine Gun, or Black, or any of these songs, like those songs take me away, and they just it's like a hug. You know, it's just comforting. Whereas some music is just what it is. It's just, oh, that's really cool. You know, some music I'll like but won't do anything for me. Some music I just won't like, and that's fine as well. You're allowed to hate things. You know, it's okay to hate some songs. It's okay to hate certain styles of music. It's okay. You don't have to love everything. You don't have to like everything. You don't have to tolerate everything. But it's how you go about voicing your opinion on how you don't like something that is key here. You can't just start belittling people because you don't like it. Well, I think you're an idiot because if you don't like this, then you obviously don't know anything, do you? That kind of attitude stinks. It should be a case of, oh, I don't really like it. Why? It just doesn't do anything for me. You know, and if they keep on at that point, then you just go, there's nothing I can do about it. It becomes their problem at that point. If they've got a problem with you not liking what they like and they're annoyed at the fact that you don't like what they like, that's their problem. Don't make it yours. You know, if they literally can't get past the fact that you don't like the same thing they do, then that's their problem. In which case, nothing you can do about it. You know, it is what it is. You know, tough. It's just tough on them if they can't accept that. You know, we're not them. Our brains do not work the same way theirs do. We don't feel things the same way they do. We never will. So what's the point in lying about it just to make somebody feel better about kind of what, something that they like and they're trying to force it on you? You need to be honest, but you need to be nice about it. You can't just be an ignorant little git about it and just go, well, I think it's whatever. You just have to go, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't get me. There's just nothing there. And it's okay to be that way. It's okay to say you don't like something. It's okay to say, I really hate that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's healthy more than anything, to be perfectly honest with you. I think kind of suppressing that is worse, than being honest. I really do. I will always be honest to people. If somebody came to me and says, oh, what do you think of this? I will say if I like it or I don't like it. If I like it, I'll say I like it. If I don't like it, I'll say no, not for me. Simple as that. But you don't go about it nastily and go, well, utterly crap. You're rubbish. You are. You're terrible. You'll never make any of yourself. Because I had that. I don't like that. So if people are going to do that, then they just go bye bye. Forget them. That's their problem. They're pathetic human beings at that point, in my opinion. But you need to accept other people's opinions and other people's likes and dislikes. It's not about kind of like, forcing your opinion on everybody and like, I'm right. No one's right. The only person who's right to you is you. You know what I mean? You know what you like and you know what you don't like. And it's about how it's all about you being honest with yourself to go, I don't like that, and explaining it to somebody who's trying to force something on you. Your opinion only matters to you. It should only ever matter to you. There is no point trying to badger people into trying to understand you, because you're an individual. You're not them, they're not you. What's the point? Waste of time. So when it comes down to Michael Schenker, awesome guitarist, he really is. So is Santana. Some things that Steve Vai does, I don't like. Steve Vai released a song not a while back, but a bit back, called Knapsack, where he plays it one hand because he got carpal tunnel in his thumb and his right arm's knackered because of his shoulder, and he's got hold of the guitar like this and he's just playing like that. That's incredibly amazing to watch. Did the music do anything for me? No. I've heard it once and I have no desire to hear it again. I just wanted to see him play with one hand, and it was so amazingly cool. But did the music do anything for me? No. Would I listen to it again? No. Because it's not there. I mean, if I'm going to listen to Steve Vai, I'm going to listen to For the Love of God or Tender Surrender or Whispering a Prayer, which is my favourite Steve song. I love Whispering a Prayer. I really want to learn it, but you need a sustainiac pickup. And I don't have one yet. Yet being the optimal word there. But some of the music he does, I don't like. It doesn't work. John Frusciante's electro stuff does nothing for me. I have got into so many problems with certain John Frusciante fans over the years for not liking his electro stuff. People have said, you're not a real John Frusciante fan if you don't like his electro stuff. Don't know how that one works, but it's because I don't like it. Doesn't mean because you do, I have to. Just because I'm a massive John Frusciante nut doesn't mean I have to like it. If John Frusciante himself asked me, do you like my electro stuff? I was like, no, I'm sorry, I don't. It doesn't do anything for me. But I would hope that people and John would be adult enough to accept my reasoning behind it. Of going, it literally doesn't affect me musically or emotionally or physically. And I like music to do that. I like it to have a physical effect and a mental effect and an emotional effect on me. And if music goes ba-doing and bounces off, I'm not interested in that because it's not going to do anything. It's not going to inspire me. It's not going to make me want to play. It's not going to make me want to do anything with it. So yeah, I mean that's it's just again, no point lying about things. Just be honest. Just be brutally honest if you have to be brutally honest, but be nice about it. You can be brutally honest and nice. You don't have to belittle people. You really don't. But again, you're allowed to not like something. You're allowed to not like things that other people love. You really are. It's okay to dislike something. But you don't need to voice your opinions to the world of why you dislike it. You don't really need to go after that person to tell them why they're so incredibly annoying to you. You know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to do that. You just have to go, don't like that, and then just go somewhere else. You don't have to do anything else. You know, it's like back. You know, it's like watching television. If you flip to a channel and there's something on that channel you don't like, what do? You turn it over. You don't sit there and just kind of go, oh, well, this is utterly terrible. I can't believe I hate this. I hate it. What's the point in that? Change the channel. Go to something you want to watch. You know what I mean? It's, you know, do that. Just that's the only analogy I can kind of think of on top of it. It's like TV. You know, like I say, it's just change channel. If you don't like it, change the channel. Yeah, simple as that. People don't have to like everything you like. You don't have to like everything they like. You're not going to. You're going to find something along the lines that you know, your best friend or whatever, you know, your dog, your cat, your best friend Bob, who lives in a hole down the road, whatever, you know, that you're going to find something that they don't like. And that's just the way that works. You know, whatever, you know, is what it is. We're all individual human beings. We all like different things. Yeah. You know, don't have a go at each other for disliking something you like. It's not worth it. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the final part, question 4, people with you. Sorry, I was a lot of rambling there, wasn't it? Okay, so question 4, part B. What do you... And this is a bit of a weird question because it was worded this way, and I thought it was a bit of a strange way of wording it, but I'm going to say it nonetheless. So, question 4, part B is, what do you have against Flying V's? It's potentially a great guitar for you, yet you don't have one. Right, now, what do I have against Flying V's? Absolutely nothing. I used to own one. I had to sell it because I needed money. As simple as that. I have a video with it. It was actually one of my favourite guitars. I loved it. It was like one of the most ultimate blues. I still believe the Flying V is one of the most ultimate blues guitars. Next to a Les Paul or a 335, V's up there. You know what I mean? And with obviously a Stratocaster and Telecaster, you know, the V's up there. It really is. You know, you just have to look at Albert King for that. But I don't have anything against Flying V's. In all fairness, I don't really have anything against many guitars. You know, because if it's got 6 strings on it and it makes a noise I want to hear, I love it. I don't care. You know, I don't care what it is. You know, if it feels good, then happy days. But if it don't feel good, I'm not interested in it again. Own opinions. But I don't have anything against Flying V's. I love them. You know, I demoed mine. It was a black vintage V. Gold hardware. It looked like it reminded me of Jimi Hendrix's Flying V at VR White Festival. Well, Jimmy's V that he had from like 69 to up until he died. It reminded me of that. And I loved that guitar, but I had to sell it because I had no money and it had to go. And it was the guitar I had that was sacrificeable. If that makes any sense. Wasn't something I wanted to do, but again, how many of us had that? How many of us have been there and done that and got that story? But I love these. I do love these, and I've played quite a few in the previous years, with ideas of buying, but none of them felt as good as that one did. And I've got that in my head now of kind of like, you know, it needs to be as good as that one was, and if it's not, then I'm not interested. You know, and it needs to speak to me anyway. And a lot of the V's I've tried don't speak to me. So again, if it doesn't speak to me, I can't. There's no point in me buying it if it doesn't speak to me. There is absolutely no point in it whatsoever. So, but I love Flying V's. I think they're amazing guitars. I'd really like a Carina-y one. But because I think they're just the coolest looking. I mean, I love black V's with the gold hardware and the white scratch back. I love them. But the Carina V's, I really want an Explorer as well. Like, I really love Explorers. I think they're really awesome guitars. And I really want a BC Rich Mockingbird more than anything. BC Rich Mockingbird is kind of like, you know, is one of those guitars that I've always wanted. And every time I've gone to I've played one. Because I love the feel of the Mockingbird. And I love the shape of it. Slash's fault. But I love it. And every time I've gone to play one, I just love the sound of them and the way they feel. But every time I come close, I can't afford it. You know, I don't have the money to buy it every time, so it's always the way. But I'm sure I'll get one at some point, people with a tube. You know, I just have to wait for mine to come along. You know what I mean? It's just a case of you know, being patient. But yeah, I have nothing against V's. I love them. I love guitars of any shape and form. Excuse me. One guitar that just makes me just kind of like look at with kind of like I am so interested in playing one of those things. I've never played one, but it's Dimebag Darrell's Razor guitar. I've never played one of those, but it's a guitar that crops up every now and again if I'm looking around like guitar pictures on the internet or whatnot, because sometimes that's all I do at night. And the Razorback comes up. I think it's called the Razorback, and I'm just like, I wonder what that's like. I really wonder what that's like. I really want to try Buckethead's signature Les Paul as well. The oversized Les Paul that Buckethead has. I would love to try that guitar. It looks so cool. Just totally white, custom. Awesome. Anyway, but yeah, I have nothing against these. If I ever find the right one again that I can afford, I will have it. The vintage one I had was amazing. It really was amazing. But like I say, it had to go, unfortunately, because you've got to live. You've got to eat. And you've got to pay things. You've got to pay for things, unfortunately, that aren't music and guitar related, which is why that went. Anyway, but yeah, so that's it, people of YouTube. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this A&Q, people of YouTube. Hope I've answered questions okay. If you want to submit a question for A&Q, description box below has an email link. Email me there. I will get to your email. I go through sequentially, unless I've answered the question before, in which case I won't answer it again. Unless it's of a certain thing that I feel is important to reiterate. If it's something like, for instance, if it's like mental health or something like that, I will answer that again because it's really important to me. So, but anyway, if it's something like, what strings do you use or what picks do you use, I've already answered that several times in the past. So that's all in the playlist. Couldn't think of the word. Anyway, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vid, people of the tube, and I will see you again on Friday for another vid. And yeah, have a great one until then. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. And yes, goodbye now. Thank you much indeed for watching. Have an E chord, E minor chord. No, yes, E major. Goodbye now. Thank you very much. What the hell was that face? Never do that again, Dave. That was bad. Goodbye now.